I want to introduce none other than Zach Collins, a digital marketing expert at No Typical Moments, here today to talk about Facebook advertising for year-end fundraising. Zach, thank you for being here, and I would just love for you to introduce yourself to everybody and learn more about you and No Typical Moments as well.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for the introduction. Happy to be here. My name is Zach Collins. On behalf of No Typical Moments, we're a digital marketing agency. We have clients all the way. We've worked with nonprofits, we've worked with info products, we work with physical product companies, all brands from many different verticals. And here today, we're going to be going over a bit of how to kind of make sure that you're not losing anything within your funnel. And I'm going to share a very helpful brand building strategy that anyone can deploy within their marketing to kind of build their base and build a following, if you will.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. I'm so excited to have you. It's been great.
Thank you. So I could just jump right into it. Cool. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys were on, if anyone here was on with us last time, but last time we're just going to be kind of going over some of these same strategies and also this kind of video viewer remarketing strategy. So I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can. I know time is somewhat short. Let's see. So I'll just go ahead and present. Okay. So the Facebook Basebook for 2021, brought to you by No Typical Moments. So the last presenter was talking, shared a lot about data. So that's kind of what I'm going to be going over, and it's a little bit of a nitty-gritty walkthrough of that I feel everyone that is marketing online needs to know this stuff, even just conversationally, so that you can have higher level conversations with your marketing team and just kind of know what it is that your data is doing and how it's being collected. So we're going to talk about the pixel and audiences. So if you guys are unaware, this is the Facebook pixel. Now, this is kind of true across Google, Pinterest, TikTok. Everybody's got their own kind of variation on like a pixel. For Google, it's like Google AdWords. That's their kind of data collection back end. But all of them use some snippet of code that goes onto your website, and it tracks data across all of their platforms. And now once you apply this pixel to your website, it's now tracking on your platform as well. So the things that you can track with the Facebook pixel, I'm sure this might sound redundant, but I'm just going to kind of go over it, and we'll get into the deeper stuff in a bit here. So you can track page views, leads, add to carts, purchases, all kinds of stuff. You can track video views. You can track how long people have watched your videos, and that is going to be important to remember when we get into the marketing strategy that I'm going to suggest for you guys. So this is kind of an example of the pixel in action. Somebody clicks on an ad, boom, the pixel is already working. The pixel is now tracking that link click to that user. So they land on, say, an opt-in page for you guys. It would be like, hey, like sign up to get more information. You guys are wanting to build your lead list for your fundraising efforts. Like, this is kind of how that funnel would work. So once somebody opts in, they give you their information, then boom, it goes over to like a thank you page. Thank you for opting in. And that's when you fire the lead pixel. I'll kind of give you an example of what those two look like here in a second. So that information goes back over to Facebook, you know, like, hallelujah, you guys got a lead. And then it tells Facebook how much you spent in order to get that lead. So this kind of data is wildly important for your marketing efforts, because you need to know your cost per acquisition. So then let's say, for example, on your thank you page, you have an upsell. A lot of our info product clients would run a basic funnel like this. You might be able to apply it to your platform as well. Then let's say, for example, somebody they choose to, yes, you know what, I want to buy that upsell. They'll click a call to action button, and then they'll land on your checkout page. And that's where your add to cart pixel is. Boom. So now Facebook knows that this person not only became a lead, but also landed on your cart page. So that's like all the pixels just feeding all of this data back to Facebook so you can look at it in your back end. Let's say they choose to buy, boom, they after the checkout page, they enter their information, they land on an post-purchase thank you page, and then the purchase pixel fires, so that goes back to Facebook and it tells you, okay, you spent X amount to get a purchase. So say, for example, your product is $41 and you only had to spend around $20 to get that. Now you got a 2x return on ad spend. Keep pushing that campaign all day long. Because what essentially you're doing at that point is you're getting leads for free. So this is why like proper pixel setup is so like wildly important, and you guys need to just kind of conversationally be aware of this stuff for the conversations that you have with your marketing team. So kind of what I showed you before, the general pixel, this is kind of what that looks like. You don't need to know code. I don't know how to code. I couldn't write this code, but it's available in Facebook's backend. So you can copy paste it into your website or have one of your web developers do that for you. Now, the difference between a Facebook general pixel and a lead pixel is just a little snippet at the bottom. So see, this is a lead pixel right here. You see how this said end Facebook pixel code right here? The only difference between that and a lead pixel is below Facebook pixel code, you put a little snippet, and this is all copy. You can copy paste this that says lead. Now, the only difference between like a lead pixel and an add to cart pixel is that instead of saying lead would say add to cart. And the difference between an add to cart and a purchase pixel is that would say purchase, and then you can also attribute a value to this. So, okay, I don't want to like fire hose you with all the information about the pixel, but just like so you have kind of a general understanding of how it all works. This is what's known as a conversion pixel as compared to the general pixel, which goes on all your pages. These kind of conversion pixels, which like lead, add to cart, purchase, they go on strategic pages so that your data management can know what kind of conversions you're getting. So like I said, if you have a marketing campaign running right now, you need to have retargeting. And so this is kind of an example of what that looks like. So I'm sure everyone is familiar with, like, you land on a page and then all of a sudden you start seeing ads for that product, right? Like you land on a product page or something, and then all of a sudden, like everywhere you go, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, like you start seeing ads for that product that you were just at. That's a retargeting ad, okay? So this kind of a general idea of how that works is you click on an ad, go over to a page, it can be an opt-in page or a sales page, whatever. And then you can set it up to where everybody that lands on this page that doesn't land on your lead page, they go into an audience, and then you can use that audience in a campaign to market back to, right? So like, hey, so yeah, I saw that you landed on my opt-in page. I would then like put this audience into a retargeting campaign and be like, hey, come on back and fill out that lead page. Like what you came here. Or even if somebody, if this is, for example, instead of an opt-in page, it's a cart page, right? Like if you're tracking everybody that lands on your cart page and everybody that lands on your purchase page, you can include everybody that does this and exclude everybody that does this, so that now you're retargeting and you can follow people all over the web. So that's kind of how you would set that up. And if you have a campaign running right now, I hope that you have retargeting in place. So that's just kind of an example of some audiences that you can use. And there are so many different variations of audiences you can have. You can have an email list. You can take your email list, your Excel file, you can upload it to Facebook, and now that audience lives inside of Facebook for you to market to. That's a very effective market, a very, very effective audience to use. You can track anybody that engages with your post, like comments or likes or watches video, whatever. Anybody that lands on your lead page, you should also be like have an audience set up for that. Add to cart, purchaser, video viewers, and there's so many. There's so many that, and me within my job as an ads manager, I set up redundant audiences on all of these different layers, right? And the cool thing is you can also create a lookalike audience based on any of these things here. So an email list, right? Post engagement, leads, ad card, purchaser. You can create what's called a lookalike audience based on all of these. So a lookalike audience is, let's just use an email list as an example. So if I upload an email list to Facebook, and I'm a nonprofit organization, like the chances are that all of those people, like say I have an email list of 500 people, chances are those people all have maybe some kind of similarity to them if they're opted in to a autoresponder for a charity event, or if they're opted into an autoresponder for a motorcycle company or something. There's obviously something kind of that is similar about all of those accounts. So what Facebook does is, if I tell it, okay, I want you to make a lookalike audience of this 500-person email list, as long as there are at least 100 people that have email lists associated with Facebook accounts inside of that audience, you can create a lookalike audience. So it will turn that 500 people into 2 million. So be sure to and I can create a lookalike audience for anything. As long as there's over 100 users that have Facebook accounts, I can create a lookalike audience based on leads. I can create a lookalike audience based on purchasers. So what that'll do is Facebook will look at, okay, so what can I find, where can I find similarities in the kind of videos that all these people watch, or the type of posts that they all engage with, or even the type of products that they all buy? You know, like, what are the similarities? And it connects those dots. So I think, like, personally, one of my favorite audiences to use is a purchaser lookalike audience. So if you have an email list of people that have spent money with you and it's over 100 users, go onto Facebook, upload that, and turn that into a purchaser lookalike audience, because then Facebook isn't just going to find similarities, it's also going to find people that pull out their wallets and spend money. So that's a very, very powerful audience to use. Purchaser lookalike audience. Remember that. So the way we kind of stagger these audiences and kind of set them up is you want to go from cold to warm to hot. Okay. So your cold and awareness audience could be like an interest based, and you can set up audiences that are like interested in, let's just say, for example, like Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Joe Dispenza. You know, like, you can put all of these interests. You can even put baseball or nonprofit. There is a near unlimited amount of interests that you can target inside of Facebook and Instagram, and even YouTube. That can set you up with your first audience. Say, if, for example, if you don't have an email list, and you can create a lookalike audience. So a lookalike audience would largely be a cold audience that has never heard of you, but it's a great place to start. And again, you can create a lookalike audience based off email list, post engagement, video engagement, whatever you want. And so a warm audience would be like your email list themselves. I'll show you kind of like an example campaign that I run that uses 4 core audiences. And one of them is your email list. So like, if you've got a campaign running or an offer, like you should definitely upload your email list and market to them. Obviously, the bigger the email list, the better, because Facebook charges you based on what's known as CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. That's what the M stands for. I don't know. But if you've only got 50 people, then Facebook can reach those guys, can reach 50 people in a second. So they're probably going to charge you kind of a lot if you're trying to reach 50 very targeted people. So obviously, the bigger the email list, the less it's going to cost you to reach all of those people. You can also consider warm audiences your page likers, video viewer retargeting, lead retargeting, all that. Now, your hot audiences are anybody that landed on your cart page, like a lead. If you have like a purchaser email list, like those could be like the people that have really made it deeper into your funnel. That would be like hot, and you want to make sure that you get specific messaging to them as quickly as possible before the iron runs cold, as it were. So I typically run 4 audiences, and this is an example of what those audiences are inside of a campaign if you guys are running this yourself. I run a cold interest audience, I run a lookalike audience, I run email list, like past attendees if I can, and then I also run retargeting. So right here, the cold audience and the lookalike audience, those are both like my cold audiences that I'm targeting. And then like email list past attendees, I'm just putting that out there in case I get any interest for whatever the campaign or whatever the offer it is that I'm running. And then anybody that engages with these ads or lands on my landing page or engages with the campaign at all goes into a retargeting audience, so that I'm making sure I'm not leaving any money on the table. Because maybe somebody got pulled away. Maybe somebody, was at work looking at this and then they clocked out and they went home. I want to make sure that I reintroduce them to this offer so they don't forget about it, right? And that's just kind of making sure that you got that's just kind of best practice, okay? So if you guys are running your own campaigns, those are kind of the core 4 that I would run for you. This right here is an example of that funnel that I showed you at the beginning, where it's an opt-in page and then a lead page and then an offer on that lead page. We call it a self-liquidating offer. So right here is an example where we spent $319. We got 951 leads for, where's my lead? Cost per 34 cents cost per lead. That is not typical, but we really nailed it on this campaign. It was for a very well-known influencer. And the cool thing here is we had an offer on the lead page. We got 14 sales. So we got $547 in revenue off of 319 spent. So we actually made money to gather 951 leads. So that's why we call it self-liquidating. Like we're essentially we're making money to gather leads. So these are kind of like free leads. So this is an example like how the self-liquidating campaign can be really, really, really effective. So this is kind of something called Audience Insights, which is actually no longer available, but you can build your own audiences inside of Facebook. It's inside of your ad sets. It's pretty easy to follow. What I want to do, because I feel like we're running kind of low on time and I want to leave a little bit of time for questions, is I want to get into this video campaign that is working really well right now and that you guys can use to build your brand. So this is known as cooking your pixel. So if you've got a brand new ad account and you've got like a novice pixel, like it's never really been, it's like a little dog and you want to train it, right? That's how you got to look at your pixel, because your pixel uses the algorithm to get you more and more conversions. Because obviously if people weren't getting conversions, they would stop using Facebook as a marketing platform, and Facebook wants you to get conversions, obviously. So it's important that we all know what the learning phase is. So anytime you launch a campaign, the ad set, and the ads themselves, they all go into what's known as the learning phase. So Facebook uses its algorithm to find users that are likely to opt into your offer. To do this, each new ad set or audience goes into a learning phase after launching. To exit the learning phase, the algorithm needs to see 50 conversions in a 7-day period. If your ads do not exit the learning phase, the problem is either your ads or your offer page. You need to make adjustments. Ad sets that do not exit the learning phase will see higher CPMs and less reach. So if I launch a campaign and the conversion that I tell Facebook to get is link clicks, the algorithm for that campaign and for that ad set is going to need to see 50 link clicks on my ads inside of a 7-day period, or it's not going to exit the learning phase, and the algorithm will think these ads are no good. I'm going to start, I don't want to show these ads to people. It's not converting. And if it's not converting, people must not like it. I want people to stay on the platform. So I'm going to kind of push these ads to the side and charge them more for them to have a reach. However, if you're just killing it on link clicks, then you're going to exit the learning phase and Facebook will actually show your ads more. Now that's an easy one to get. Where you want to start, like if you've got a brand new advertising campaign, is you can start with a link click campaign. Because if I started with, like, if I'm brand new, I've got no data on my pixel whatsoever, and I automatically tell it, okay, I want you to go out and get purchases. Basically, like that's kind of a heavy pill to swallow. Like you're telling a virgin pixel to go out and do something that it's never done. Like it's going to be hard for you to get 50 conversions inside of a 7-day period. So start small, start with link clicks. And then once you get 50 link clicks, you can up the ante and go maybe, all right, 50 leads. And then if you're not getting 50 leads inside of a 7-day period, you need to look at your ads. Like what can we improve about the ads? Are they not making enough sense? Can the offer be clearer? Or if you're getting link clicks but no leads, then maybe it's your opt-in page. You know, like does our opt-in page really convert well? Like, is the message easy to understand? You know, and if you're getting leads but you're not getting ads to carts, okay, what about my cart page or what about my upsell page isn't working? You need to make adjustments. So that's kind of how you analyze the data and make adjustments from there. So if you were going to scale up your audiences, what I would do if I were you guys is, this is kind of like a pro tip, if you would. I would start with like a cold audience, like email list lookalike, or even an interest-based audience. And I would tell it to, okay, now I want you to get link clicks, different types of targeting if you want. You can even tell it to just get impressions, in which case it would want to go out and get 50,000 impressions. And that's something it can easily do. Once you kind of like teach your pixel a little bit after what you're after, then I would do like a lead lookalike. And the goal here is to test creative, and you want to get 50 of whatever your conversion is a week. Start small, something like link clicks, again, would be easy. Then you can do, like, if you get webinar viewers, you know, you can do a webinar viewer lookalike. And the idea here is to constantly like up the ante. So once you exit the learning phase on link clicks, then tell it, okay, I want to get leads. Or if it's an add to cart, for example, all right, now I want you to go out and get 50 add to carts, right? And see how it does. And if it doesn't do that, then maybe you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out your offer. And then so on down kind of the funnel as it goes until you get to purchases. And if you can get to 50 purchases in a week, you're really flying. That is not typical. It can be very hard to get to 50 purchases in a week, but depending on the price of your product, you know, like hell, like play around with it. That's just kind of how the conversion system works and how you can kind of teach your pixel to keep going after higher goals. We don't really need to go into. Okay, so here we go. With the remainder of my time, I'm going to tell you guys about a little thing called Dennis Yu's 3x3 video grid system. So what I can do inside of Facebook, like video is king right now. Video is crushing it. If you have a video that's 30 to 60 seconds, I mean, it doesn't really matter how long your video is, but you can create audiences in the back end of Facebook that track any user that watches, you know, 10 seconds, any user that watches 25%, 50%, 75%, 95%. You can create these little buckets, as we call them, of anybody that watches any certain percentage of any video. So what Dennis Yu, he's one of my marketing mentors. This is the guy that goes to Facebook and teaches Facebook how to market on Facebook. Dennis Yu is an absolute legend, and this is one of his kind of proprietary like strategies. Is the 3x3 video grid system. So you start with kind of like 9 videos, and in your first tier, you do your why videos, like why it is that you do what you do, like just kind of like informative, educational. You're introducing yourself to this cold audience. You want to make your videos as engaging as possible, 30 to 60 seconds. Aim to educate them about what you do, tell personal stories. And the goal here is just to get people to watch the videos, because anybody that watches any percent, boom, they're automatically getting put into buckets for you to then retarget. And then with those buckets, let's call it tier 1, okay? So I've got a bucket that's, and it's like, say these 3 videos, anybody that watches 50% of my tier 1 videos gets to see my tier 2 videos. Hopefully you guys are kind of following along with this, because you can get like surgically granular with the kind of messaging that you deliver to these audiences based on how much that they actually watch. So anybody that watches 50%, 75%, 95% of tier 1 gets fed tier 2. And it's your how videos. So here's where you would want to educate people. Like, this is the problem that we're facing in the world. This is kind of some things that we find could be solutions for this. Are you considering this? Like within your nonprofit organizations, like what are you aiming to educate people on with your message? So now within Now you also set up an audience with your tier 2, like anybody that watches X amount of tier 2 also gets placed into different these percentage viewed buckets. So anybody that watches X amount of tier 2 then gets fed tier 3. Now here's the thing. Now here's where it all kind of connects together. If anybody watches like 30 to 60 seconds of these videos, right, of any one of these videos, and then somebody watches 30 to 60 seconds of these videos, I promise you that if they've spent that much time with your brand, they know what you're about, they know what your brand looks like, they know like whoever the influencer or talking main influence for your brand is, they know what your mission is, they know what your message is. So anybody that watches X amount of tier 2 then gets fed tier 3, and this is where you make your offer. It's like, okay, cool. You've seen that we do this. We do it because of this. This is the effort that we're tackling. This is why we're doing this. If this is something that actually interests you, I invite you to come on over here, fill out this form, or make a donation, whatever the case, right? Now, here's some additional magic to this strategy. It's just called you can search it online right now. It's Dennis Yu's 3x3 video grid system. We're running this for a number of our clients, just like because like some of our clients are just getting started. So we're using this to really build brand awareness, and it's really working. Like we are conditioning people to the brands that we are putting out, and you can do this as well. And something also very interesting about this is you can do this for as little as $1 a day. If you don't have a huge marketing budget, you just set your conversion metric to video views and you tier it out. You have one audience that's your cold audience. This is going out. You should probably have your biggest amount of spend, like 1.5, however much budget you have, going out to audience 1. And that's just like spreading your message. And your main goal here is just collecting people into these buckets. So anybody that watches X amount of tier 1, then you can have tier 2 at running it like $1 a day, because it may not be huge at first, but you're just educating people. You're running them through this education machine on your brand, and this can just run in the background. This takes very little maintenance. I would be watching the performance of these videos, and if, say for example, you're seeing that one of these videos is getting way more 100% views than the other ones, I would turn off the other ones and just run with that one that's getting the most engagement. And the idea here is also to constantly be like throwing in new content, because you don't want to bore your audience, right? You want to like keep throwing in new videos if you can. And yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm not trying to, hopefully we have enough time for questions at this point, but there you go. That's my presentation.
Thanks so much, Zach. That was great. So much great information packed into a short period of time about Facebook advertising. I think there's a lot of ways that we can apply all of this to year-end fundraising and really like targeting those audiences. So yeah, if anyone has any questions for Zach, now is the time. Feel free to put those in the Q&A pane. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in just a moment. So yeah. All right. Any questions? No. Okay. Giovanna asked, how much does this cost to a nonprofit that doesn't have a marketing team?
How much does the, like, say the video system campaign cost? That can, I mean, it's each ad set or audience, like say tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, they all kind of get their own individual budget, but you can set like $1 per day to each of those. So essentially like if you're running it like 30, like you could get it for $1 per day. So that'd be about $90 a month to get this video messaging out there. And I highly recommend that you do, because like for $90 a month, you could be educating people on your nonprofit, building your audience, building your base. It's a really great strategy.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's super affordable for $90 a month, being able to really get that data and engage with people. So yeah, that's incredible. We have another question. So tier number 1 is basically vids on why are we doing what we're doing. Tier number 2 is here's what problems we see that needs fixed. And tier 3 is, so do you want to join us in the fight? Is that's kind of like,
yeah, That's
quick
kind of how that would
summary.
work out. I definitely recommend testing. That's kind of the most important thing. Like testing, maybe putting some tier 2 videos into tier 1 if that seems to work better. The whole goal is to move people down this video funnel until they get into tier 3 to where you can actually make an offer. So play around with it, do a lot of testing.
Awesome. This is so great, Zach. Thank you so much for being here. I'll keep an eye. I think Yusuf asked, which bidding and objective strategy do you recommend for each tier?
So it's going to be, you can have it all running in one campaign, and that campaign is specifically just a video view. So when you're going in to create your campaign, like, do you want conversions or awareness or whatever, you just select video views, and that's what it'll go out and get. And I would say, kind of like, not to overcomplicate things, I don't think you need to set much in the bidding strategy, at least not at first. Just kind of like get it going and see what kind of data you can get. You're also cooking your pixel here, so it's really like, it's got tons of benefits.
Awesome. Great. I think that's all the time we have, Zach. Thank you so much for being here. I really encourage everyone to check out No Typical Moments. They have so much great content and also really great services. So if you want help with your Facebook advertising or other digital marketing, take a look at No Typical Moments. Yeah, Zach, thank you so much for being here and for sharing, and thank you everyone for hanging in there with me. I know we started at 9 a.m. Eastern, so it's been a day. So thank you again.